Saxon Algebra 1/2 Lesson 3. Greetings, students. I am here to deliver to you a lesson that you're going to probably look at and go, oh my gosh, that is so easy. Don't be frustrated if that is exactly how you feel, because that's how John and I want you to feel. We want you to feel confident and strong about these lessons here at the beginning. Actually, the first 20 lessons are probably going to feel pretty darn easy to you, and that's because we're building a house in your brain made of math, and we want to make sure the foundation is strong. So that's why there's such an emphasis on going over things that you learned not just last year, but probably years and years ago, because we want to gather all those things up and build a really strong foundation with them. So with that in mind, our first part of lesson 3 is subtraction. I know you've been doing subtraction for a long time, so let's just dive in and do a few examples to remind you. The instructions say subtract. It's pretty straightforward. And then it's written like this. Okay, I will pause as you are scurriedly writing that down. I see your heads bent and you're writing quickly to make sure. This is the way it's written in the book. This is the way it's often written in the homework problems. As you know, this isn't helpful. Writing it in this horizontal format, we would say, that's not cool at all. So when you're copying these problems down to work in your homework, just go ahead and stack them as you copy them down, because you know that's how you're going to need them to be arranged in order to work them. Okay? Give yourself plenty of breathing room and space around the numbers, and let me just put a few fancy words in front of you. This one is called the minuend. That is a fancy number that just means the big number, the top number in a subtraction problem. The number that you're subtracting has a weird name also. Subtrahend. That's the smaller piece that you're subtracting. The answer, the word for the answer, is a much more useful word, and you'll see it pop up again and again. The difference. Oh, that's so much easier to remember, isn't it? It's actually a word and not some like made up weird thing. The difference is the answer of a subtraction problem. That is super useful to know. So let's subtract. 2 minus 7. Uh-oh. Right away, John throws us a curveball. We cannot subtract 7 from 2 because 7's bigger than 2. So we have to go over here, and some people call it borrowing and some people call it regrouping. But we're going to take essentially 10. This 3 represents 30. We're going to take 10 away. We're going to leave 20 behind, and we're going to put the 10 over here with this 2. So now we actually have 12 minus 7, and that's 5. 2 minus 5. Oh, another problem, right? This is in the tens column, so this is actually 20 minus 50. So what we're going to do is go over here where we have 400. We're going to borrow or regroup one of those. We'll leave 300 in place. We'll take 100 over and put it in front of the 20. So now we have 120 minus 50. Subtracting, we get 70, 7 in the tens place, right? 3 minus 2 is 1. So there is our answer. A box and a smiling face because I got it right. Yay. It always feels good to get a problem right, doesn't it? That's another reason why it's so important to correct your work as you go, because you get those little moments of reward as you're slogging through your homework. If you're just doing the homework, I remember that. My teachers never gave me the answers. I very clearly remember you just do the homework and be like, I don't know. I hope I got it right, but I have no clue. we make sure as you go through that you get that little ping, that little reward of saying, oh yeah, you got that one right, good job. Okay, example 3.2. This one, I'm gonna write out again this way, and I want you to do it just for purposes of your notes. But remember, in real life, you would never write it in this wrong format because that's just a waste of your time. Here's the thing, you guys, I want you to work really hard and put in your best effort to doing your homework. And remember, doing your homework is where you really learn. The lesson is just warming up, but doing your homework is where you really learn. It's the most important part of the work that we do. So this is an unhelpful format, but there's something in here I wanted to talk about. We have dollars and we have cents. We have two different units that we're trying to compare, and that doesn't work. So we either have to write this, we could write this as 400 cents, right? Because $4 is the same as 400 cents minus 35 cents. That's okay. But that's not usually how we do it. Usually we leave the dollar amount in dollars, and here I added a decimal and some cents, right? Two zeros for the cents. And then this 35 cents we would rewrite as 0.35. And I can put the zero there if I want, right? That's 35 cents also. This is usually the preferred way of working these problems because in our world, we don't usually talk in cents all that much. We usually talk in dollars. So I'm going to rewrite that. $4 minus 35 cents. I can say it that way, but I've written it as a dollar. And now we subtract, and oh boy, I gotta regroup a lot, don't I? Remember, that's how you carry it all the way across because I have two zeros. I can't borrow from the tens place. I have to go to the hundreds. So I take it here, and then I borrow it back. Okay, now we're ready to go. 10 minus 5, 5. 9 minus 3, 6. 3 minus nothing, 3. And remember, with decimals, you can ignore them while you're working. You just line them up, and then you bring it straight down. So our final answer is $3. And notice I put the dollar sign back on my answer. It's not necessary to have it on there as you're working, but at the end, yay. Okay. What you may remember about subtraction is that it has a special relationship to addition. The way my brain naturally says it is that they undo each other, right? Subtraction undoes addition, and addition undoes subtraction. They're opposites, but they're linked, and they are called, there's a fancy word for it, inverse operations. Okay, this is super important in algebra. We're going to use this fact all the time, that they undo each other, right? I think we're going to flip over and let me show you just some super basic examples of that, which you probably already understand, but as we have covered, we're restating the obvious, right? Okay, so we can say that 2 plus 3 equals 5. I almost said 6. That would be really embarrassing. Okay, so, and we can also say that 3 plus 2 equals 5, right? There's two ways of stating the addition facts. These words, or I'm sorry, these numbers, the little pieces that you add up are called addends, and the answer is called the sum, right? So now when we create subtraction out of this, and I'm going to go in the other direction, we can subtract. We take the sum and we put that on top, right? And then we subtract one of the addends and we get the other addend. Addend. I made up a new word. Addend, right? This would be 2, and this would be 3. So you can see how the parts rearrange themselves. You've probably been shown that 100 times in your math life. But there it is again. We had those other fancy words. This was the minuend. And this was the subtrahend. That's one word. I just had to break it apart. And this is the difference. I'll give you a second to write those. So these are the words that describe the addition process, and these are the words that describe the subtraction process. But honestly, I much prefer the addition words other than difference. I don't like these two words. But it's helpful to see how all of this fits together. Let's practice using this vital information. Example 3.3. It says, find the missing number. And then John gives us an addition problem with a letter inside. All right. Okay, so once we start tossing letters in, you're officially doing algebra, so that's always exciting. But let's look at what we've got here. This is an addend, this is an addend, this is the sum. Okay, so we know that by turning it into a subtraction problem, we can find this missing piece, because we're going to take this and put it on the top, right? Because in subtraction, the big number goes on top. And then we're going to subtract the addend that we do know. And then that will give us the mystery addend that we're looking for. So now we're going to subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. 2 minus 7 won't work, so we borrow and regroup. And the answer is 156. And the way we write answers where we're solving for an unknown letter is we take the answer and we just write equals that letter. That's the way you want to present your answer. Box it or circle it. Yay. Okay. Here's another example. That is a very similar problem, but John's going to present it differently. He says, find the missing number, but he writes it like this. Again, I want you to write it like this now, but in your homework, don't copy it down the wrong way or the unhelpful way. We'll go right to the good stuff. Okay, so this is how it's written in the book. Some number plus 257 equals 493. So we go, okay, addend, sum. Sum, we're going to do a subtraction problem. Again, what we're using here is the fact that these guys are inverse operations. So we can use them backwards to solve a mystery. So we're going to take 493 minus the addend that we do know, and that will give us the addend that we don't know. Okay? So instead of copying this out of the book, if I was doing my homework, I would go right to this. I would just copy that. Okay, let's subtract. 3 minus 7 doesn't work. We regroup. This is why I put lots of space around my numbers, is because I have to make these little notes, right? Don't worry about using too much space. Worry about giving your problems room to breathe. 8 minus 5 is 3. If we were working together, you guys, I would be having you work all these on the board. And I'm sorry that we can't. Okay, 236 is our missing addend, or the difference between those two. Okay? One more. Two more, actually. Flipping, and then we're done with this lesson. Example 3.5. Find the missing number once again. Now this time, again, we're going to write it down as it is in the book, but you wouldn't have to do this for your homework. Okay. So we see, okay, this is a subtraction problem. So the sum, the big number, if you will, is at the top, and then we're subtracting one addend to get the other addend. How do we rearrange this so that we can get that x? Well, if we rewrite the problem so that we're subtracting the addend that we know, that'll give us the other one. So I'm going to rewrite this like this. Right? I can switch the addends around anytime I want. So now, this is the way that it's helpful to actually solve the problem. Again, you do not need to write it down this way. Write it down the way you want to use it. All right, I need to regroup. I can see that right away. 16 minus 9 is 7. Regrouping again. 11 minus 2 is 9. 4 minus 3 is 1. So it looks like the value is 197, and that this time it's letter X. That's correct. Yay! All right, and one more. Find the missing number, and this time I'll write it first. P minus 423 equals 287. Okay, well, the first thing I see is it's written horizontally. I don't like that, but I'll fix it. But I want to figure out how to rewrite the problem first. It's a subtraction problem, so the first number is the big number, the sum, and we subtracted one addend, and this is the other addend. And I can see this time, I don't have the sum, I don't have the big number. How am I going to find it? Oh, I put these two together. So this turns into an addition problem. Okay, so if I add these two together, I find out that 710 is the sum of those two addends, and that would go here as the minuend of this subtraction problem. Ew. I don't like that word. But as long as you understand that we've got a big piece and then we've got little pieces and we're rearranging them in all these different ways, then you understand this whole process. So here's the thing. In these problems, there are no hard and fast rules. You have to look at each problem and logic it out. What do I need to use in order to find the piece that's missing? And this information can actually be super helpful. So go back and draw a puffy cloud of knowledge around this business. Because taking a simpler problem and reminding yourself how to solve for those missing pieces is the best way to work a more complicated problem. Make the numbers simple, figure out what you would do to find the missing piece, and then apply that same logic to your problem. Okay, just to take a quick look at the practice, most of the solutions manuals that I'm aware of for this lesson do not have the answers to the practice problems in the solutions manuals. Bummer. What that means is that you'll have to get the answers out of the back of this book, which they're way back here at the very end. I'm just going to flip it open to any lesson. The problem is that they don't have all of the practice problems. They just have the odd letters, if you will, A, C, E, and so on, if there are more. So I want you to always do the practice, but all you can do are the odd lettered problems because those are the only ones you have answers for. I will never ask you to do homework unless I give you the answers for the problem. So just work the odd letters, if you will. Okay, so that means we'll do A. There it is. That's dollars minus dollars, so that one's pretty good. We'll do C. Something plus 123 equals 522. And we'll do E. And there's a missing one too. These are just like the problems we've been doing just now. This first practice problem is actually easier than what we were doing. All you need to do is line up the decimals and subtract. There's no mixed units of dollars and cents in there. Okay, yay, lesson 3, done. See you next time. Thanks, guys.